Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Bourbon and Blockchain Happy Hour. Today's date is April 14th, 2022. Today, we're going to be talking about some current events and some things that are happening in the news in talking about the world of crypto. But before I get into that, I'd like to talk to my co host here. I'd like to ask Mr. Myron. Myron, how are you doing, sir? And how has your week been?
Doing good. This week's been a little busy, but I'm waiting. I'm glad we have this episode to just talk about crypto and kind of forget about all that work stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't it kind of feel good just to, talk about crypto and get it all out? Sometimes you just need to talk it out. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and there's some funny news this week,
Yeah.
so can't wait to talk about some of that.
Absolutely. I'm pretty excited to talk about it. What about you, Mr. Maverick? How are you, sir? And how has your week
Man,
been?
I'm doing great, man. To be honest with you, first time ever in history I've been bullish on Twitter. I don't even know
Oh,
how to put it. So
yeah.
life's good. I have no complaints. This week's actually been pretty interesting in crypto. Not that exciting, but interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's exciting and it's not exciting, but it's interesting. There's a lot of things that are going on.
There is a lot of news.
You know what? And while we're talking about that, why don't we go ahead and talk about the charts a little bit? I'll ask you both how you feel about things right now. Within the last hour, we've been seeing Bitcoin actually dip down a little bit. It came all the way down to 39,800 range. We kind of knew that it was going to range sideways a little bit in this zone. How do you guys feel about Bitcoin right now and Ethereum, and where do you see that going over the next week or so?
Feels like it can't decide if it wants to be 40,000 or not. So it's been bouncing around a lot. And I was talking to Maverick earlier this week. I was like, do you know? I think I may be wrong on the exact numbers, but I was like saying something like 20 out of the last 22 Good Friday week has been green in the stock market, and this week happens to be one of the few that's red. Today, SPY sold off a lot, and QQQ. So that may have affected a little bit of this crypto drop, and sadly, it's still very much tied with the traditional markets. So hopefully, it finds a base here, and we can move on up.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is where we're at right now. We are tied with the S&P 500, and we're tied with the, commodities and things like that. And what's going on in the macro level of the world is obviously affecting everybody. And I think that that's having a very, very direct effect on crypto as well. What about you, Mr. Maverick?
Yeah, no. Hey, we all have a good friend. Y'all know him as Zek. And Zek is like a chart specialist, right? And so been paying close attention to what he's saying and what the indicators say. And honestly, it looks pretty favorable as long as it trends at this level and we don't see some big massive dip coming. So I don't know, not financial advice, but there are indicators out there saying that this is a buy zone. So eh, I don't know. It's kind of odd that I can't really make sense of the way things are tracking. Honestly, it kind of confuses me.
If you guys
Yeah,
look at that, we have pulled up so far, Draco, on that on those 11 coins.
yeah.
Look what's green, man. The best coin is green.
Oh
Dogecoin,
boy.
man. It's up 1.36%.
Oh, it's killing it. It's killing it.
It's
Put the market to
absolutely
bed.
killing it, man. Oh,
This brings up a good point. I'll see if I can bring this up really quick. So, there's an individual that's pretty popular on
oh
Twitter called PlanB. Has a whole bunch of followers. It's an individual that is anonymous, that is potentially a large investor. Definitely has a lot of things to say and a lot of good input. But this individual puts out these posts and asks the questions that are important for crypto, and they're typically very, very accurate. So one of the last ones that he posted a couple weeks ago was, will Bitcoin dip below 40K again? 66% of people said yes, and it did. The most recent one that he put out on April 11th was, will we ever see 30K again? And pretty much 30 or 54% almost 55% said we will never see 30K again. So in history, with these questions that they pose on here, it's very, very accurate long term. So I think that's pretty interesting to see. And that means that the market has more, it's a little bit more bullish on Bitcoin than maybe things seem. And I think that that's positive for the overall market. So we'll
He's
see
a
what
guy.
happens.
He's a guy that did the stock to flow model
Yeah,
that I think we
that's,
mentioned a couple
and
weeks
it's been
ago.
very, very accurate.
Yeah, so I think it was, he's also the one of the guys that when Bitcoin dropped to like 4,000 in 2019, everyone was like, oh yeah, going back to 2000. He's like, nah, this is the bottom right here. We're going to 1 trillion market cap. So he's, for the most part, he's being fairly accurate. It hasn't been 100%, but yeah, he has good stuff.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're going to go from the overall market. We'll hit a few articles that are important, and then we'll just try to have a little fun with it, because this was a fun week for crypto and a fun week for a couple different topics. So this is an overall topic here. BlackRock, Fidelity, and others invest 400 million in USDC stablecoin issuer Circle. So for those of you that don't know, Circle is a company that's a crypto-focused financial technology firm that's involved in helping print USDC, which is a stablecoin that's backed by the US dollar. The reason why I bring this topic up is because I wanted to ask you both, and we'll start with you, Myron. Are you starting to notice a trend that big, large companies are investing into crypto, but they're not buying crypto? They're buying companies or vehicles of innovation that get them exposure to crypto. Do you think that that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think the big thing is what we've been talking about, that there's just not enough clarity on the regulation for them to actually get into the crypto projects. So it's more so like a workaround where you can still have exposure to crypto rather than actually getting the crypto. I think if the regulation was clear, I think there's no doubt that they would at least buy the top two, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I think this article, I read through, and they also talked about, I didn't know about that, Circle was going to have a SPAC merger, and it didn't go through and got delayed now to, I think, December or January 2023. But I mean, if it's merged with that SPAC, then that means you can trade it on the stock market. So this is another company that's related to crypto, a pretty big one actually, that's going to be listed.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And Mr. Maverick, what do you think? Do you think that it's a good thing that these large investors and these, mutual fund investors and things like that are finding their way into crypto? And do you think that it's a positive or a negative thing that they're investing in these crypto-related companies rather than buying crypto itself?
You know what? I don't think it's either necessarily. You look, if I'm like director of Blackrock, right, and I'm essentially have some of the largest funds to take care of. I mean, how big of a black eye would they have if they invested into into the crypto market and then somebody got hacked or rugged? There's nobody to back the money. There's no regulation to try and track it and find the people. I mean, there's a lot more to it, right? The security is not there yet, but I hope people are paying attention to the things we're talking about week to week, because I'm telling you, and we probably can all come to an agreement that there's a trend. There's definitely a trend of this happening right now. We've seen it on many, many occasions where they're circumventing not necessarily investing in crypto, but they are definitely supporting crypto related companies. So yeah, not really too upset or bullish on the fact that they did this. But hey, I also have to assume BlackRock is like one of the most successful investment companies out there right now, right? I mean, the amount of money that they have at the moment is astronomical that they're managing. So you have to assume again that they probably know a little more than what we do, and they're probably strategically positioning themselves for the future in some form or fashion.
Yeah, I agree. And just a quick shout out to everybody in the audience. Christine, Rosie B, and Jen, you guys are diehard fans. You're there every week. It's great to see you guys. Um, I agree with you. I think that if somebody like BlackRock or Fidelity or any of these, large investment firms are bullish on crypto projects or crypto innovation or crypto businesses, then that means that they're paying attention and looking at, crypto as a something that's bullish. They're bullish on it. And yeah, you're right. There's no way that they can invest in actual cryptocurrencies yet because there's just not enough regulation. So this is the best they can do. And I think we're going to continue to see this over and over and over again. My follow-up question for both of you would be, is it, is this a sign? Because these are big companies. This is a lot of money. Is this a potential sign that, USDC is going to take over? We've heard some FUD in general around USDT. Do you think that this is starting to like maybe sway the market towards USDC as the actual stable coin? What do you guys think about that?
USDC has been my favorite stablecoin, actually. I mean, the only USDT that I have is on KuCoin because that's what you have to use. But whenever I can, I'm pretty much holding USDC and DAI. So but USDC is like my go-to.
And what makes it more, what makes it better? What makes it better than USDC? Is it because of that it's been audited so much and that it can actually be pegged to the US dollar?
I think to me, more so for me is like you got the largest two, right? USDT and USDC. I know there's FUD, there's like a lot of things that saying that USDT is not backed. So just by that fact, you don't hear that really for USDC. So that's why I'm leaning more towards USDC. Not so much, I guess it's better, but it's more so for me that USDT has some little bit of FUD around it.
What do you think, Mr. Maverick? Do you think that this is a sign of things to come that, the huge crypto investors, these wealth management funds are getting into USDC in companies that support USDC and not quite USDT or any of the other stables?
Yeah, being a BUSD maximalist myself, uh, I don't know if I'm the person to answer that question, to be honest with you. Hey, in all seriousness, I'm kind of torn. I really don't know. I think they both have quite a chokehold on the stablecoin market. Okay, and there's others that people rely on as well. MIM, DAI, BUSD, my fave, right? But I don't really know. I think USDT tends to be the one that is the most flexible. So you'll see a lot of people holding that strictly because honestly, it seems to be the easiest to bridge, to move around. USDC, you kind of got to be careful. For example, I think I've mentioned it before. I've lost money moving USDC over to KuCoin. My bad.
Hmm.
I should have done it, but it's not really compatible with their system. But USDT seems to be kind of compatible throughout the entire realm. So hey, from that perspective, I'd have to go with USDT myself.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Like, you know, obviously there's room in the space and all that stuff, but it would be way more convenient just to have one stable. We don't need 100 stable coins. It'd be very convenient to have one stable coin that everybody knows and accepts, and that it's actually pegged dollar for dollar. Like, it has some integrity to it. That would be really nice.
Yep,
The
that's
only thing that
cross-chain compatible, right?
yeah,
That can
exactly. You
easily
could
be
send it to
moved.
any chain, any chain.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But
The,
we can all wish, right?
the
Yeah.
best name is still Magic Internet Money.
Oh,
Ooh, that
dude,
mem, that
Hands
mem
down.
money.
you'd laugh, but I do hold MIM, and
I
I do
stopped
hold
holding MIM
and
after
I
all the fun, man.
and I do hold BUSD. So don't laugh.
Well, this kind of this. Well, I used to have a little bit of BUSD, but I got rid of it. But this kind of brings us to another topic that's very similar to the first one, and I just, it almost segues perfectly. One of the things that this very short article is talking about is a new world order for the stock market is coming, explains BlackRock CIO. Pretty much what this is saying is that, if you guys have listened to Kevin O'Leary, and unfortunately Smoky Mountain's not here tonight, he has Kevin O'Leary as his PFP, but he keeps saying that specifically crypto is going to become the 13th sector of the S&P 500, and it's going to be the next thing that everybody that'll have available to them, and they'll all be able to put money into it, and it's going to be huge. It's going to be a big deal. So with that being said, they're saying that, yeah, this is coming, and and here's why, and here's all these different people that are going to be coming into this. Mr. Maverick, we'll start with you on this one. What do you think about potentially elevating crypto to that type of level, and making it so that everybody, to include your grandparents and your parents, everybody will have access to it? Do you think that would bring wide adoption to crypto? And do you think that potentially that the Bitcoin ETF would be the first one that brings that exposure to the market?
Yeah, well, yes, but before any of that can happen, we have to see regulation, right? Regulation, good or bad, indifferent, however you feel about it, that's what it's going to take for that to happen. I did watch the Kevin O'Leary speech or talk that he had, where he kind of described what you just mentioned, Draco. It kind of be in the 13th sector, and I look I look across the infrastructure now, and you can turn it on any financial news system, even like Bloomberg, right, in the background, and you will see Bitcoin and Ethereum pop up on the regular, on the ticker. So hey, I argue that it already is the 13th. It's just not the regular. We're missing the regulation to make the mass majority of people comfortable with investing. It's that simple.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I might have made a mistake. I think it might be the 12th sector of the S&P 500.
Okay.
My bad. That might have been my bad. Mr. Myron Gaines, what do you think?
For the since 2008 up until now, it's like every time the market was going to a crash or is dropped by a decent amount, Federal Reserve pretty much came in and says, "Oh, we're going to lose a lower interest rate. We're going to print a bunch of money and hold it up." So these this decade or even longer has been the craziest run the stock market has had in the history. So in this whole run, a lot of people just got rich or made a decent amount of money if you just bought SP 500 or all these indexes, right? And this one, I think where your mouse is at, that that paragraph says that people are expecting it to break below the 4,000 level. And right now it's at 4,400. Today dropped out to like 4,370. So now I watched this one guy that talks about this things. He's like, man, a lot of money managers pretty much just been riding the wave, just buying just the market index and things like that, pretending like they know what's going on. But this strategy probably won't work for much longer as Fed is raising rates. We have all these uncertainty in the world. So right now, if you look at like all the technology stocks or the growth stocks, they're all been dropping. It's like straight up just a downtrend, trying to find the base. But then you look at stocks like Walmart, Kroger, Mosaic, which is a fertilizer company, all the oil companies, like basically any recession or inflation stocks, that's just been on a run for the past couple months. So this is, I think the article says, it's getting to that stock pickers time where you can just be like, oh, I'm buying SP 500 and it's gonna give me a lot of returns, because that may one slow downward, we may actually be getting get a huge pullback. So I guess back to what you're saying about the crypto, things like that. I think a lot of people are still not considering crypto as the hedge. Like they're still not seeing Bitcoin. I see this over and over again. Then a lot of people are not seeing Bitcoin as a hedge, and they need to start viewing it as that, so we can get money flowing into it, not just speculation to sell more, but it's like, I think the gold holders, a lot of people who buy gold, hold it. And I think the Bitcoin needs to get to that place where, I know they're diehard fans hold it, but I think a lot of the market is just kind of trading in and out of it. So if we can get that view where people say, hey, the market is going crazy, I need some hedge. Oh, Bitcoin may be an option and maybe make it easier for people to buy it. I think that would be a great thing for the crypto market as a whole.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. I think you guys hit the nail on the head with all of that. The one thing that I will say is that if we have an economic downturn and we have crazy inflation, and then we potentially go into a recession, which it seems could be more and more likely, if that happens, you're going to have a lot of different types of investors and people that are at different points in their life with how much money they can afford to invest with. And I think what we're going to see is in general, we're going to see a lot of money that won't be put into the market. Now, I'm sure some money will come out, but people will have less money to spend on speculative investments and things of that nature, or stores of value, because they're going to want to hold on to their money just in case they need that for precious goods or commodities, or utility. So, paying their rent, getting gasoline, being able to go to work. So hopefully we don't get to that point, but I think that that's something that we need to pay attention to, because long term, that's something that could be, potentially worked into the market. And with that being said, we'll move on to the next topic. Celsius announced that only transfers from accredited US-based investors will be able to earn rewards. This is pretty big news in the crypto world. Celsius is one of the bigger, stake to earn platforms that you could potentially get into that had KYC and verification. It was a very reputable service. The only other service that I'm aware of that kind of matched this reputation in the space was BlockFi, and BlockFi was regulated and had to pay $100 million fine in the past. So they've, both of them have been regulated and been talked to. And I think that, I think that this is big in terms of regulation that we didn't see coming, or things that might be affecting the crypto market that we didn't account for. So Myron, I'll start with you. What do you think that this does for the overall crypto market? And, do you think this opens the door to regulation that we didn't account for?
This is why we can't have nice things, man. Every time we find something in a retail right space, that's great. I think they're offering like 17 or 18% for some coins, and like up to 7 or 8% for stable coins, which is absolutely
Ooh.
insane of return, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So
that's going to kill everything, right?
yeah, so it's like, and they did this not because they wanted to, it's because these cease and desist basically say, oh, you guys are doing this like it's security, this and that. So man, the U.S. government just that's how I feel the U.S. government is. Like anytime the common person makes money, we're gonna regulate it. Anytime that they find a way to do something that's outside the control, we're gonna regulate it. But when the so SEC is supposed to be set up to protect the people, but I feel like they're set up to protect the interests of the big banks, big institutions, and whenever like us little guys find something good, they're like, oh yeah, that doesn't sound right. We can come in here and regulate it. So I mean, it's terrible news, and I hate to see it happen. And even in the U.S., we're heavily regulated in terms of crypto. Like when Binance moved over, right, they had to do a whole thing called Binance.us, and it doesn't have as many coins. It has a lot of restrictions. And US also, you can't do like these high leverage trades like you can. So there's people using VPNs to be in like Canada and things like that to be able to use those. So man, US is just not really that friendly towards crypto right now. But I do hope they can tax it, but just like either set out a clear regulation where big players can get in. But right now, just like everything that they've been doing is just hurting the low guys.
Yeah, Mr. Maverick, my question to you is this potentially a layup for potentially making regulation that affects or benefits individuals that already have money, and hurts the little guy?
Absolutely. Like I don't know how the way you framed it up is exactly right. This does not benefit the little guy whatsoever. In fact, what we were talking about shortly before the program was that when you KYC, you have to have what was it, $1 million
Yeah, to be an accredited investor, you have to either have a net worth of $1 million or
or
$250,000 in income per year, and it has to be documented.
right. So I mean, what is that, like the top 3% of households in the U.S. make over $250,000 a year? So I mean, like it's a little absurd, honestly. I'm with you, Myron. What you had to say was, I'm sure that the fact that they probably received some letters threatening them, just like they did with, what'd you say, BlockFi? Um, yeah, it was. I don't know. I mean, I it is disappointing. It is disappointing. I don't know what else to say about it. Uh, Celsius seems like a great platform, but it sounds like you have to have a lot of money to play in it from now on. And that just seems like counterintuitive to what crypto's designed to do, right?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, when it says we have ongoing discussions with U.S. regulators, state level regulators moved forward with cease and desist orders against the platform. I just kind of feel like, specifically with this, that the U.S. is being kind of looked at as a bully in the situation. And from what I understand, and from the research that I've put in, it seems like the reason why they're angry about this is because if you're investing in stable coins and getting a return, there's not much risk. And the only thing that the government can kind of compare that to is bond yields. And bond yields pay out way less than this.
Yep.
But bond yields are one of the most important things to pay off debt, right? So this is a threat. This is a direct threat to a low risk, high reward yield that would be literally in direct comparison or in a direct argument with bond yields. So I think that's why they're arguing about this is and fighting against
Yep.
it because nobody will buy bonds. They would just buy crypto.
Dude, the only one buying bonds right now is Federal Reserve, man. No one's gonna buy that like 2% return or like something that's so low for 10, 15, 30 years. It's insane, man.
Yeah,
So
because you're going to lose 6% of your investment
yeah.
with it's 8.5%,
Oh,
inflation.
God.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about that. Just before we move on to the next one, like even with Celsius, they were doing an average of 7.1% returns on stable coins. And let's just remind ourselves that that's still below the inflation rate that's currently going on at 8.5%, which many people are saying that it's actually much higher than that. That's just like a number that they've come up with to kind of make it look a little bit less damaging than it actually is. So just
Mhm.
something to think about. They don't even want you to have 7.1% returns on your stable. So, but you know what? This is a really good article here because this one specifically talks about crypto and its real world use case, and it's very relevant to what's going on in the world right now. So this topic here is: we sent Bitcoin from Miami to a Ukrainian in Poland who withdrew it as cash all in less than 3 minutes. I don't think I need to really add more than that. Mr. Maverick, I'd like to hear your opinion on this. What do you think about CNBC talking about a use case for actual crypto outside of terrorism and money laundering?
It sure is a change in belief systems, right? This is just further proof, Draco, that the world is shifting. It is, and when you see articles like this where they're testing things out and promoting it, and honestly, this is a very bullish article in general, right? I mean, it this eliminates all the Western unions, the wire transfers. This is like a whole new way of thinking and transferring wealth, and we've been talking about this for a long time, and that's why we're big on Bitcoin in general, right? So I don't know if I'd be withdrawing my Bitcoin, especially from an ATM. I've seen the ATMs myself, and I'm not touching them. But hey, it's definitely positive press, and there's proof in the pudding, and they're obviously wanting people to see that.
What about you, Myron? What do you think?
Man, we need to do a background check on the sender and the receiver and the criminal history. Because man, Bitcoin is shady, man. Only shady people use Bitcoin. No, but this is great. I think this shows you it's probably hard, like super hard for them to actually, if you want to send money, to actually send real money with like you have to maybe convert it to, I don't even know what the money is called for Ukraine, right? So yeah, maybe you have to convert it. Like this, that sounds like such a mess. Where for Bitcoin, just send it. What's your wallet? I'm sending it to you. So
Yeah,
this
no
is
conversion rates, no nothing,
yeah,
right?
it's really actually revolutionary in terms of how easy you can get money to different people. So I mean, this is good news. Is I think like what we said before, there's finally starting to be some positive news on crypto in these mainstream news websites.
Yeah, the one thing I took out a lot of things from this after I read it, and it was actually, one of the main articles on CNBC when it popped up. So I thought that was pretty cool that it was, on their front page. But one of the like, not only they can't help themselves, right? So they wrote this article, and this is great. Bottom line, it really does work as well as the Bitcoin booster says it does. Like, it's almost like a shot. Like, we've never put any research into this. We have no hands-on experience, and we've been saying that this is terrible for years. But you know what? It actually kind of works.
I think this is the first CNBC article that I've actually enjoyed reading. Kidding.
No. And the other thing that I got to say about it is that you know you got to remember that these legacy financial systems take tons of funds out of these transfers, and it takes days or even a week or more to get that money actually exchanged. But because of the restraints that those financial systems are on, it kind of makes sense. If you have US dollars, you have to convert it to a different currency. You have to send it from one bank that works in one currency to another bank that works in another currency, then have it converted again and then distributed to the end user. And it does, like, that sounds daunting. Whereas with crypto, you literally just plug in an address and hit send, and it goes. And the fees are almost non-existent, especially on like $100. It's a very, very small amount of money. So, I think that this is huge for the space, and I think that one of the founders in the space, one of the people that are the most bullish, he's right at the bottom here, Michael Saylor. I didn't even know he was at the bottom. I didn't know that it added this, but I will say this: he says time and time again that education and exposure is what is going to bring more and more people into the space, right? So education brings, or I'm sorry, familiarity brings education, and education brings exposure. As we get those things time and time again, it'll make more and more people understand what's going on in the crypto space.
Yep, I agree, Draco. No, great article.
I think it's bullish for the entire system. All right, this one, this is a Myron Gaines special, and I'll just go ahead and let you take it from the beginning.
This is hilarious, man. I remember when this first came out about him selling his first tweet. So the guy bought it for 2.9 million, and he's like listing it. And I think when he listed it, he tweeted out or said, "Hey, I'm listing it for this price. If it goes really high, I might just sell it, or if it doesn't get to that price, I'm just going to hold it." And the top bid was $280, man. What is that, like 99.9999% loss? I mean, I've been rugged on some NFT projects before, but man, this is just brutal, man. It reminds me of that story of the guy who bought the Tom Brady's last touchdown football, and Tom Brady comes back and is like, "Oh, guys, I'm actually
Fake out.
not retiring yet." But this is way worse than that. I mean, just imagine how this guy. Look, the lowest bid is 0.0019 ETH. So this is super hilarious. But the thing is, no. First, I guess it's cool in a way that it's Jack Dorsey's first tweet. But man, I don't really like Jack Dorsey as a person. I don't know how many people like him as a person in terms of like the way he's running the company, the way he's running Twitter. And people have been saying that he's pretty much an absentee CEO for the past, couple years when he was at Twitter. It was finally until they got a new CEO that Twitter's getting some updates and things like that. And of course, now Elon comes in and tries to do something with Twitter. But this is just funny, man. Like, it shows you the craziness of this NFT space where even these high name, more really popular things, no one really. I think after the hype dies off, people's like, "Dude, I don't want that. This is worthless."
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Maverick. I want to hear your opinion.
I don't have a whole lot to add to it. I think it's completely silly that somebody would monetize their first tweet, and that it's even sillier that somebody would pay $2.9 million and expect to make 48 off of it. That's absurd. I mean, uh, I don't know. I bet you if you were to just walk to your local city block and ask people, "Hey, do you know who Jack Dorsey is?" They'd be like, "Nope." I mean, you are not Elon Musk, right? And Elon Musk isn't going to try and monetize his first tweet. So hey, oh, and I'd have to. I'm scared to even go back and look at my first tweet. I'd have to pay somebody to read it probably. I mean, so yeah, I think this is a funny article in my opinion. Not a whole lot to glean from it, but it makes me laugh, and I'm glad y'all found this one.
Yeah, you know, all I have to add to this is that I think this speaks to people's hubris or their ego, right? Like everybody thinks that NFTs or that their NFT idea is going to be worth $1 billion, and at the end of the day, it's all just pixels and in color, right? And there are a lot of great NFT projects out there. I'm not saying that there's not, but not all NFT projects are amazing or revolutionary. And the fact that Jack Dorsey thought that it was a great idea to sell his first tweet, obviously when it sold for $2.9 million, yeah, like it had some clout or whatever, but just in general, like what are we doing? What are we doing out here? Like this isn't important, and maybe that's a shift that's happening in crypto, right? And when he sold that, maybe we were during a huge pump, so maybe it wasn't a great idea to try to sell this thing, in the middle of a bear market. Maybe his tactic was a little off too.
Oh man, hey Myron, what's your first tweet? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
I'm going
But
to
hey,
check it
but if
right
you
now.
want to buy it, man, I'll sell for a lot less than 2.9 million.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to steal it right now. PDF it.
Hey man, that's actually a crime. That's called that's stealing, and you better delete that screenshot
Hey,
right now, man.
sue
It's
me.
not an NFT.
All right, so here's the last article that we have to talk about, and obviously we have to talk about Elon Musk, right? So in general, this shouldn't be news to all of you, but we'll talk about it anyways. Elon Musk makes a $43 million offer to Twitter to buy it. He's going to make the arena for free speech. So I guess we'll talk about two things. Number one, um, do you think that Elon would create an area or an arena of free speech? Will he stick to his guns and make the space better? And two, um, do you think that he will try to destroy Twitter, which he could potentially do by dumping his stocks if they choose not to comply or to get on board? What do you think, Mr. Maverick?
No, he's not going to kill Twitter. That's not the purpose. I think the interesting thing about Elon is his motives are genuine, right? He has a vision, and the way the ecosystem as it stands right now with regards to free speech, he's disappointed. This is very much an emotional play by Elon, right? I'm sure there's a financial benefit to it, but come on, who offers up on a whim like this? I mean, if you think about it, it was just in the news 2 or 3 weeks ago where he was hinting at being very upset, right? And then saying, "Hey, should I create a new Twitter or something like that?" And he put up some sort of a poll, and it very well could determine the future. Like, I really do believe he comes from a place that is genuine, and so for that reason, man, it excites me. It excites me to think that somebody like this polarizing, is standing up for what's right and what's good and what's just in a world that wants you to do the exact opposite. They want you to ignore the things around us that are going wrong, and they want you to focus on these minuscule things. He's standing up for what's right, and he's getting a whole lot of hate right now too, a lot of hate.
Yep.
But on the other end, he's getting a whole lot of love too. So very much divided. But I think, honestly, if you were to take a poll, I mean, a genuine poll, I guarantee you 80% of the public thinks that this is a really cool thing. Yes, yes, Jen, I did say y'all. I can't help it.
No, it was
Can't
me.
help
I
it.
guess I threw one out there.
Uh,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
oh, Draco said it.
Yep.
Oh man. So hey, this is like the news of the week for me, man. It got me a little bit pumped whenever I saw it, and I was thinking, yes, like we need a figurehead like him to stand up for what's right.
Mr. Myron, what do you think? And I'll throw another one in there. Just another question: Is Elon Musk the real life Tony Stark for our reality? Is he going to save humanity?
I I'll answer the question first before I comment on this article. But I think this guy has something crazy planned, and I think a lot of people look to him as a good guy, but I don't know. I still feel fishy about him in
You're
general.
skeptical.
Yeah, I am skeptical. But the thing is, the whole thing that he did with Twitter is super big brain. I think so. After you get 5% stake in any of these companies, you have to file with the SEC, but you have like 30 days or so to do it. So he was buying up Twitter shares like for a while. Then when he was getting to the deadline, I think he like accidentally misfiled something. So he like got a little bit more time before it was revealed, and that time like saved him. They say if like it was revealed a little bit faster for him to get to the 9%, he saved like bunch like millions of dollars just by doing that. And now he's coming out saying, "Hey, I want to buy Twitter." Well, one, the news came out was like, "Oh, he's joining the board," which means he can't really get any more shares. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm not joining the board." And now he comes out with this and saying, I'm just going to buy it straight out." So there's people theorizing right now he's still buying shares up. It's because the next time you have to report is above 10%. So last time he stopped just 9%, which is just short. So now people are saying, hey, I think that the news came out that BlackRock or maybe Vanguard, one of these companies, one of these big funds bought a little bit more, so push them to the 10% range, which if we go by the old numbers, they'll be the largest shareholder in Twitter, not Elon. But the thing is, Elon could still be buying. He may be up like 15, 20%. We don't know until the mid of May. That's when he probably would have to file again. He has that much time. And there's people saying that if this deal doesn't go through because the board is pushing back against it, Elon could just do a legit hostile takeover of buying 51% of the shares and just fire the whole board. I think the thing is, if he does get in power, a lot of people are speculating that the whole board is going to be gone. Like the whole executives probably going to be gone from Twitter, and that's why they're fighting so hard for it. Why he wants to do this? Is it truly for freedom of speech, or is it some move? There's a picture I think people are tweeting around today. I don't know if you guys seen that. There's a picture of like a cat dressed up in a suit holding a newspaper. It's like one of those midlife crisis ones where it says, "I'm gonna buy a boat," and someone's photoshopped Elon's head onto the cat. It says, "I'm gonna buy Twitter." So it can be a midlife crisis. I don't know, but this is crazy. But his whole maneuvering around this shows that either he has really smart people working for him that knows exactly all the things that they can do to bypass some of the stuff or withhold some of the information. Or like, but this whole move just is very very calculated. As more information comes out, we're just like, oh man, this guy really planned ahead of everything he's trying to do.
I gotta say, like, this is, I don't know. This isn't a well thought out idea. I'm just kind of spitting at the top of my, at the top of the hour right here, just giving you a simple opinion. I really do think he's kind of like the Tony Stark of our reality. Like, he made electric vehicles, he made better solar, he's engineering better batteries, he's attempting to make Bitcoin mining more efficient. He's created space travel that's more cost effective. He's attempting to make a huge space station that surrounds Mars and then potentially colonate Mars. And now he's trying to defend free speech. Like, I'm not saying that he is Tony Stark. I'm just saying that he really thinks things through. And I disagree. I don't think that it was an emotional move because he's starting to tweet, and he erased it, it looks like, because I tried to bring it up. But he's starting to tweet little hints. And one of the things that he tweeted before he deleted it, I can't bring it up. He said, should the CEOs and the individuals at the top, the executives of Twitter, should they be the ones that make the decision whether or not they accept this offer, or should it be the shareholders? Now, this is a publicly traded company, so the shareholders, as an aggregate, should potentially be the ones that make the decisions on whether or not they accept that offer. And the reason why he's saying that is he's saying, that small group of people that sit up in wherever they are, I'm assuming they're at like Big Tech California, they don't get to make all of the decisions. This is a major shift in this company. So, I think that he is making these decisions, and he's probably going to say, wait a minute, if you guys aren't the majority shareholders and you don't do this, this, and this, you can't make that decision on your own. You have to go through these steps. I think this is a well thought out attack, to be honest with you. That's my personal opinion.
Man, but the thing is, you have to say his tweets are like the whole thing after he did this is just hilarious, man.
Oh yeah,
Right after he like showed that he bought Twitter like 9% was worth some 9 point something percent of it. I think his tweet was like, "Oh, hi there," or something like that. Just super random, but super hilarious. And today, the Kingdom Fund from Saudi Arabia, and they came out and they rejected. They came out and says, "I don't believe the proposed offer by Elon Musk of the 50, and the number too. He did 54.20, so 420. He had to throw that in there somehow when he did the price. He said it doesn't even come close to the intrinsic value of Twitter, given its like growth prospects." And Elon Musk said this. He says 2 questions. He's like, "How much Twitter does Kingdom own, directly, indirectly?" And the second one is the funny one. He says, "What are Kingdom's views on journalistic freedom of speech?" It's like, it's super random, super out there. Like this guy, he's out of all the celebrities, I would say, all the people that's well known on Twitter, he's probably my favorite, man. And sometimes he posts straight up memes, man.
Yeah, he's definitely a troll, but he's like a well thought out troll. He's like a layer 3 troll. Like, it's just crazy the way he thinks things out. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's what's been going on this last week, and what's been going on since we last came on Monday. That's pretty much all I got. If you guys have anything else to discuss or anything else you guys want to say?
No, but you should vote, Draco, on that, yes or no.
Oh no, yeah, this is just like a regular, account. It's not okay, so I can't vote on it. But yeah, how about you, Mr. Maverick? Anything else?
No, I think I'm just gonna head over to Twitter real quick and send Elon a message and tell him let's change it to Tweeter. Emphasis on we, like we the people. Yeah,
absolutely.
That'd be good.
Yeah, as long as his motives are true and he's being honest. I mean, anybody, I have to say, it's unfortunate that we have to have these conversations, but how can you argue about free speech? If it's free speech, it's free speech. That's the whole point of free speech. So, I think people need to take a really hard look at what it is that they're saying and what it is they're trying to be an advocate for, because free speech is just that. It's free speech. It's not free speech just be like within your confines or free speech within somebody else's parameters. It's free speech. So it seems like Elon Musk is trying to take that approach, and that's something I think I can get behind. So other than that, thank you guys for coming. Have a great night. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to listen to this, we have a whole bunch more on Spotify, and if you want to continue the conversation, join the Discord. I hope everybody has a wonderful night and a wonderful weekend. Happy Easter, and we'll see you guys next time on Monday. So have a great weekend.
Bye, guys.
Good weekend, guys.
Bye.